Hey everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant, and in this freelancer guide, is Upwork really the best place to start your freelancing career? Probably not. So here are the top 3 reasons why it's not, and you should look at some other solutions. Timestamp table of contents in the description, along with some other helpful videos to growing your digital business and freelancing practice. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Reason number 1, Upwork is not the best place to get started, has to do with fees. So if you're looking to make money right now, Upwork is going to charge you the most, even though it has some of the greatest long-term benefits if you're really gonna stick it out as a freelancer for a couple of years. And your first $500 on Upwork is going to be charged at 20%. And this is almost double what you're going to get on other platforms where well, I guess it is actually double because freelancer.com is only 10% and guru.com is only 8.95%. So pretty much 9 and 10% versus 20% on your first 500. Now, something that makes Upwork unique is after that first $500, your fee actually drops down to 10%, making it comparable to the other two. So you're just gonna pay a really hefty fee up front in terms of your transaction costs, but then you'll get the same that you would on Guru or Freelancer. And then at $10,000 in earnings, your rate drops again, although most freelancers don't make it to that point. Now, when it comes to proposals, Upwork is hands down the most expensive across the board. So here's how these platforms work. They essentially, well, except for Upwork, the other two will give you some free options in terms of submitting proposals to projects. So you'll go to Upwork or Guru or Freelancer, you'll look at the projects and go, oh, I think I should apply to this one, and that one. Well, Guru is going to allow you to apply 8 times for free, and Freelancer is going to allow you to apply 10 times for free. Upwork will allow you to apply 0 times for free. They have a token credit system, very similar to Thumbtack if you're familiar with that. So essentially what Upwork does is they charge 15 cents per credit, and then there's a certain amount of credits you'll need for each job. So if a job represents a client who has a good hiring history or a project that's going to result in more money, it's going to cost you more to apply to it. So there's no standard in terms of how much it's going to cost to apply to a job on Upwork, whereas with Guru and Freelancer, you know exactly how much you're going to pay. And that's $4.95 a month if you want to apply up to 50 jobs on Guru, and then it's $10 for every 20 bid tokens on Freelancer. So it's actually going to wind up being much less expensive if you build your portfolio and kind of work base on Freelancer and Guru, because your bids are going to go a lot further and your money's going to go a lot further because it's going to be a lot less to actually apply to those versus what you're looking at on Upwork. But if you still decide Upwork is for you, then at $15 a month, you'll get 70 connects. And of course, who knows how many jobs that 70 connects actually represents. So it's one of those things where you're just going to have to kind of figure it out. But if you're on a really tight budget and you're trying to generate a part-time income, then Upwork is just too expensive. Which leads me into reason number 2, Upwork is not great if you're just getting started, and that is because it is hyper competitive. Part of the reason that Upwork seems to be more expensive in terms of the upfront fees and also in terms of their token and credit system for applying to jobs is because they're trying to get less people to apply to jobs because they want their higher performing freelancers to really just get the royal treatment, get the preferential treatment, which makes sense if you're a client, right? You just want to get the best possible freelancers and you don't really want to waste your time looking at a bunch of new people like you and I would be trying to grow our profile on the platform. Now, in addition to the higher fees, trying to kind of push out the people who are just getting started and really force people to only apply to jobs that they're really, really qualified for, which means your number of occurrences are going to be very low. The other problem is the review process itself has been changed so that if Upwork doesn't think that you are a good match for the job, they're actually going to put you in a separate category altogether. So as a client, when I scroll through and I'm looking for new freelancers for whatever I'm hiring, I will actually scroll to the bottom and I'll have to manually click in order to see all of the new freelancers who have no job history, they haven't made anything, and Upwork doesn't think they're a good fit. I'm going to have to manually click and look at all these people. Now, as someone who's been using Upwork for over a decade, I even used it when it was still called Freelance, that's not a problem for me. But most clients, most people on the platform who are looking to hire freelancers won't do that. They'll just look at it and go, oh, Upwork's telling me that these people suck, so I'm not going to click on them, which is really, really crummy because you're paying to show up on that job, and Upwork, even though you pay them, is putting you in a place that most clients just aren't going to look, which makes it very, very hard to break out as a new freelancer. But once you get that first or second job, you're going to find that it gets tremendously easier. Just landing that first one is going to be very, very hard. And this leads me into reason number 3. Upwork is not great for new freelancers, and that comes down to the client is always right. Something that I think is really hard to wrap our heads around is, as freelancers, we are actually not the customer of Upwork. We're not the customer of Guru, 99 Designs, Freelancers, or even Fiverr. The client is the customer of these companies. So when it comes to a dispute, they're pretty much just gonna side with the client because you and I are the product. The freelancers are the product being offered to the customer, who are the clients. So when it comes to billing, you're pretty much 99% of the time going to lose whatever the dispute is, which means if you're just getting started on any of these platforms, I highly, highly recommend you only look for jobs that are at an hourly rate because number 1, it guarantees that you're going to be paid, and number 2, as long as you're using the systems that Upwork, Freelancer, or Guru have in place for taking screenshots and tracking your time, you're much more likely to win any sort of debate of this person didn't do their job if it's at an hourly versus if it's milestones or delivery. Because once you have a couple of reviews, once you have a track record, you can go and take those jobs with more confidence, and you'll know that you can't be taken advantage of as much because the client's going to see that you already have a track record. If you sign up for a fixed job with a new client, the client can see that you pretty much have to have this job work in order for your profile to rank any higher than it already is because you're a 0, which means clients can take advantage of you a lot easier if it's a fixed and it's your first time versus if it's an hourly and it's your first time. So thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope you got some value out of this video, and it just gave you some food for thought in terms of whether or not Upwork really is the best place to start. Freelancing is a great way to make a part-time income and eventually a full-time income if you learn how to generate your own business. I never recommend using any of these platforms as a long-term strategy or plan for breaking out as your own business owner or freelancer. If you want to do that, you really do need to be able to generate your own business. So I highly recommend you check out some of the links in the description on how to come up with a content plan and drive traffic to your own website so you can start generating business for yourself and getting your own clients. So until the next video, hit that like button, subscribe for more just like this, and until the next, keep building the business you love.